Do you ever feel like we've lost the ability to see nuance? Like if you say something good about the past or point out a hard truth about the present, people jump to extremes? Today, I want to challenge that because life isn't either or. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. This episode is about the lost art of nuance, how we can hold two truths at once when we talk about the 1950s, feminism, the black community, and cancel culture. It's about how to see the big picture without losing honesty. I'm Amiel Cohen. I help you piece together the puzzle of life, seeing the bigger picture so that the world and your own life start to make sense. That's what this podcast is all about. Hey everyone, it's Amiel. Today, I want to talk about something that I don't think gets said enough, but a lot of people feel it deep down. It's about nuance. It's about how we talk about the past, the present, and each other. So we live in a time when it feels like you can't say anything good about the 1950s, or even bring up family values in the black community, or talk about how men and women might be different without somebody jumping down your throat. You say one thing slightly outside the mainstream narrative, and suddenly you're a racist, a sexist, a bigot, whatever. It's exhausting. But I think the truth is simpler than that. Now, I didn't grow up in the 1950s, but my parents did. And when they talk about it, they don't say, oh, wow, I love Jim Crow and sexism. No, they say it was a beautiful time, safe neighborhoods, stable families, good values, a sense of unity and direction. That's real. That's their experience. But today, if you say anything positive about the 1950s, people assume you want to bring back segregation. That's nuts. It's like we've lost the ability to say this part was good and this part was bad at the same time. The 1950s had major problems, of course. Racism, sexism, limited opportunities for women and minorities. That's real too. But does that mean that there was nothing worth remembering or learning from? Does that mean strong families, community, faith, and a sense of national pride are off limits now? No. We shouldn't erase the good just because the decade wasn't perfect. Now, let's talk about feminism. I think first wave feminism was incredible. Women got the right to vote, to own property, to be treated as full citizens. That's justice. That's fairness. No argument there. But somewhere along the way, second wave, third wave, fourth wave, the message started changing. It went from women deserve equal opportunity to women should want exactly what men want. Careers, power, status, corner offices. And if you don't want that, if you'd rather raise your kids or create a home, suddenly you're looked down on. Here's the problem with that. Men and women often get joy from different things. Men tend to find fulfillment in achievement, building, conquering challenges. Women, on average, often find deeper happiness in connection, family, relationships, raising children. That doesn't mean women can't get joy from careers. It just means it's not the only path to a meaningful life. So why are we pushing women to measure their worth by how much they imitate men? Equality means women can choose, but choice is not the same as sameness. If a woman chooses to run a Fortune 500 company, great. If she chooses to stay at home and raise 4 kids, also great. Now let's talk about the black community. The civil rights movement brought incredible historic progress. Equal rights, voting rights, breaking down Jim Crow. We've had amazing black leaders, entrepreneurs, and role models. Oprah Winfrey, incredible athletes, scientists, artists. And yes, we've had a black president. That's worth celebrating. But there's also a harder truth. Some changes after the 1960s, especially from the Great Society programs, came with unintended consequences. Before the civil rights era, the out-of-wedlock birth in the Black community was much lower. Families were often stronger. Fathers in the home. Communities were tight-knit. Poverty and racism were real, but family structure gave kids a foundation. Then came government programs that, without meaning to, made it economically easier for fathers to be absent. That broke something, and you can't fix that with more programs. You fix it with stronger families, values, and community. That's why I'll give credit where it's due. Obama was a great model as a husband and father. Even Al Sharpton, who I often disagree with, has spoken about the importance of fathers. The message is universal because the breakdown of the family isn't just a Black problem. It hurts every community it touches. Now, there's another problem that ties into all of this, and that's cancel culture. I actually think cancel culture is starting to fade a little. It went too far, and people are getting tired of it. For a while there, it felt like you couldn't say anything without somebody trying to ruin your career or your reputation. But now, I think more people are realizing how unhealthy that is. Jordan Peterson has a warning about this. He says, if you keep pushing and silencing people on the right, calling them names, shutting them out, eventually you'll get a rise of far-right identitarians. In other words, you push hard enough, you create a backlash, and that backlash is dangerous. You see it already. Some people get accused so often of being racist, sexist, homophobic just for having a nuanced position, then they eventually say, fine, if I'm going to be called those things no matter what I do, then I'll stop caring. And maybe I'll even lean into it. That's how you radicalize people who might have been reasonable. And here's the other danger. When you call everyone a racist, a sexist, or a bigot, those words lose power. You cry wolf so often that when a real wolf shows up, a real bigot, nobody listens. The false alarms drown out the real threats. That's not progress. That's self-sabotage. So here's the big picture. Whether we're talking about the 1950s, feminism, the Black community, cancel culture, or anything else, the truth is we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can say the 1950s had a lot of good, strong families, safe neighborhoods, optimism, and also say that segregation and discrimination were wrong and had to end. We can say women should have every opportunity in the world, and also say that not every woman's dream is to live like a man. We can celebrate civil rights, progress, and also admit that some policies after the 1960s unintentionally hurt the very communities they were meant to help. And we can call out real bigotry while also protecting space for honest disagreement, nuance, and open conversations. Because when we shut people down, we don't make them better. We push them away, and sometimes we even push them towards extremes. The goal isn't going back in time. The goal is to take the best of the past, combine it with the best of what we've learned since, and build something better. That's what progress really looks like. If we could all start seeing life in that way, not as either or, but as both and, we'd find out pretty quickly that most of us actually want the same thing. A society that's free, fair, safe, and decent for everyone. Thanks for listening to today's episode. I'm Amiel Cohen, and if you found this helpful, make sure to follow so you don't miss what's coming next. I'd love to hear your take. What does walking and chewing gum at the same time mean to you? Leave a comment, share this episode with a friend, and join me again as we keep piecing together the bigger picture of life.